Find a new way to live in Toronto's coveted Forest Hill neighborhood. Foray by Canderel blends thoughtful, livable suite design with refined finishes and more than 50,000 square feet of amenities, including wellness spaces, work-from-home areas, fitness facilities, and places to unwind. A modern, elevated community crafted for the life you've earned. Your next home starts from $599,000. Learn more at live@foray.ca. That's live at FORET.ca.
Toronto entrepreneurs Daniel Carson and Daniel Schreiber had a very good reason to miss their first Seders with their families this year. On April 1st, the two Daniels were at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, watching NASA's Artemis 2 mission blast off. And while they took selfies, they also held up a package of their own company's Superseed strawberry lavender cereal. Because at that very moment, freeze-dried packs of the cereal made in a Kosher-certified facility in Etobicoke were traveling far above their heads, stowed aboard the spacecraft as part of the astronauts' approved menu for the historic 10-day mission. In fact, Canadian Jeremy Hansen personally chose Goldy cereal for the journey. He and his crewmates flew roughly 250,000 miles from Earth, about 400,000 kilometers, which is farther than any human has traveled, even passing behind the moon. And while a floating jar of Nutella certainly captured global attention during the mission, we're focusing on a different story. The two Jewish founders behind a homegrown Canadian product, two lifelong friends from Thornhill with deep roots in the Jewish community. Daniel Carson worked for Camp Robin Hood and later with the Megan Boys as a DJ and MC. His partner Daniel Schreiber brings Israeli-Canadian roots to the business. Their cereal has now been accepted not only for Artemis 2, but for future use on the International Space Station for a brand whose name could easily belong to a Jewish bubby. Joining the lineage of Jewish and Israeli presence in space, from astronauts to ritual objects, represents a moment of pride.
I am hyper aware, and I try to be hyper aware of Jewish and Israeli accomplishments. And so for me, this is another one, right? And another proof of concept of the value that Jewish people bring to the world, the accomplishments that Jewish people can achieve.
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Welcome to North Star, the flagship podcast of the Canadian Jewish News, made possible thanks to the generous support of the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky-Gluskin Charitable Foundation. Goldy cereals come in 11 varieties. Before reaching space, they underwent rigorous testing by space officials. The gluten-free, nut-free blend includes chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, organic buckwheat, freeze-dried strawberries, and lavender. Add water in space and it transforms into a soft, pudding-like meal. Carson and Schreiber created Goldies during the pandemic, searching for a nutritious breakfast their own children would actually eat. Today, their products are sold across Canada in health food stores and major grocery chains. And while this isn't the first time kosher food has gone to space, Israeli astronaut Ilan Ramon famously brought kosher meals aboard his ill-fated mission, it's rare for a commercial product like this to make the journey. Now the two founders hope to build on the momentum and maybe go further. They join me now from Toronto. Great to meet you. Congratulations, and welcome to the CJN's North Star podcast.
We made it. We're so excited to be here.
Pleasure to be here.
Listen, we spoke just to set this interview up, Erev Shabbos on Friday, when the world was about to watch the splashdown. And I said, I'm praying for God forbid, because I covered one of the disasters in Florida for CTV News. So we were praying. Can you walk us back to a couple of days ago when you were watching the landing?
The landing happened during kiddo bedtime, so they could have scheduled it a little bit better for me. So I only watched the highlight reruns.
Yeah, and I was watching, I was out with my family celebrating the splashdown, having a little dinner, and you know, now that we came full circle from liftoff to touchdown, so we were watching on our phones, and as soon as everyone was safe and smiling and happy, I ordered an extra drink, and we celebrated with the whole fam.
One thing I knew for sure is that they were not going to land hungry because they had Goldies on board.
Always.
Well, they did have them during Passover. So it needs to be said that these things expand. Therefore, they would not be considered by many Ashkenazis kosher for Passover.
Uh-oh.
Luckily, it was Friday, so it was already finished, right?
Okay.
That's
That was
right,
our biggest
that's right.
fear, to be honest, was that part of it.
But it is a kosher product.
Tell me about that.
Well, inherently, all of the ingredients are plant-based. So our facility is a kosher certified facility. So all we had to do was register under their license, because all of our ingredients are kosher certified in and of themselves.
Yeah, and we worked hard to get that done because, we were always wanted to have a kosher certification on our packaging, but the facility needed to be kosher. And all of our products independently were kosher. So everywhere we source each ingredient from, they were all certified kosher. But it wasn't until we got the certified kosher facility that we finally could get it to the places that we wanted to.
Can you tell us where it's actually made in Toronto? Because it says Etobicoke, but
Yeah, it's made in
That's it.
Etobicoke. That's
no,
it. That's all you got.
When you say that, Canadian cereal going to space is a great story, and you've been everywhere. But the kosher part hasn't really been explored publicly. Like, is there a Jewish story behind Goldy's that you haven't told yet?
Yeah, the two owners are
obviously,
Jewish.
we're both Jewish. Schreiber is also originally from Israel. Great connection there. But a funny story I can tell you in regards to Goldy's and the Jewish connection is that, obviously we do a lot of consumer trade shows and trade shows for the industry. And Goldy's was based on the idea of Goldilocks and the Three Bears and finding that just right oatmeal or porridge or just right product. But regardless of where we are, anytime somebody comes up to us at one of these shows and says, "Oh, who's Goldy?" we always know that they're part of the tribe because Goldy is, inherently a very kind of like traditional, beautiful, booby Jewish name. And so we get to have these connections with people all the time. And we see it right when it happens. Oh, who's Goldy? And we're like, okay, they don't see Goldy as our Goldilocks. They see her as, my Polish booby. So it's always nice to have those conversations at these awesome trade shows. And that's where we, really make a connection.
We should have called it Goldas.
That's our next brand.
Right.
Yeah, Goldas.
But in terms of like the Jewish legacy in space, there have been, as our listeners will know, sadly, 2 Jewish astronauts who died in space, but others who successfully brought a Torah or they brought a menorah that came into space.
Beautiful.
So where do you see your product now in this timeline?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We weren't so familiar with, who's been up there and who hasn't until we really started kind of getting deeper into this mission as we got more information from the Canadian Space Agency and NASA. But, when you put it like that, you're right. If there are these amazing Jewish astronauts who've been heroes in their own right throughout history, we can now say that a Jewish product has gone up there too and has joined the timeline as strong Jewish brands that have made an impact. I mean, obviously our impact is very small compared to the astronauts, but we still like to think,
we don't know that yet. We may find out from Jeremy Hansen that he ate this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day because it's the only thing that satiated and satisfied him. We have no idea.
Let's ask you about that. So you were there for the launch.
Yes.
But have you heard yet if they actually ate it?
So between ourselves, we decided to give the Canadian Space Agency a few weeks just to like come down off the literal high of being in space. And then, we have follow-up questions for them, such as what you just asked. Was it actually consumed? How much of it was consumed? Was it just Jeremy who ate it? Did he share? Because sharing is caring. Did he like it?
The same in space? That's something I was wondering because here on Earth it's different than up there. Is what I've read.
Yeah, your palate in space can change in the same way that your physiology and appetites can change. What we learned is that space food is an extremely important element for NASA and the CSA, where they invest a great deal of resources and capital, because what happens is if God forbid an astronaut loses their appetite in space, that coupled with food that is not tasting so good would mean that the astronaut is malnourished. So first and foremost, and again, we appreciate the inherent compliment in it. First and foremost, space food has to be super tasty. Which is why they provide the astronauts the opportunity to taste it and choose what they want to go on their menu prior to launch. And then Jeremy Hansen tasted all of our flavors, and then he chose strawberry lavender as the
Yeah, and
choice
I
for the
and I
menu
I'd
item.
probably say that we have to assume that he ate it because we also were told that, as most people probably know, space is limited. And so they're not bringing up, selections like maybe I'm feeling this today, maybe I'm feeling that today. They had to be very,
That's true.
particular with the choices that they brought on the ship. And so we have to assume they ate it. And then on top of that, my aunt sent me a video today. She was she's watching all the news. She's excited for us. And she sent me a video today of Jeremy eating something in space. And obviously it's not in a branded bag, but I'm telling you, it looked exact. It's how they would have eaten our product.
Send me
Yeah,
the
I'll send
video.
you
Oh my
I'll
god, I
send
want
you
to
it. I
see
mean, it's my
that.
aunt sending it, so the camera is, facing half of her nose for the first 2 minutes, but
Sorry.
eventually I
Yeah.
got a good shot of it.
We think of the package that you see in the stores or on your website, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't look the same. It's like in a
No.
freeze-dried clear. We saw what the Canadian Space Agency showed us. It looks like, I don't know, dog poop in a bag. No
Yeah.
offense, right? Like it doesn't, it's not really appetizing. So is that correct that it wasn't what you would get in the store if you want to buy it?
Yeah, from a packaging perspective, no. But from a product perspective, yes. I mean, our Superseed cereal, and we have a few different lines of products. So we have really delicious oatmeals. We don't use any refined sugars. Date powder, our kids love it. We love it. It's, beloved by all our customers. But the Superseed cereal really is used often by our customers as like a yogurt topper or in a smoothie, or you bake with it. It's just great seeds, great flavor, great fiber, great protein, and you can kind of use it any way that you like. The way that they ate it in space is a very like neutral way to enjoy it, which is just adding water, letting it expand for a couple of minutes, and then enjoying it. So it's not necessarily the way that most people eat it. And if you do eat it like that instant chia seed pudding style, usually people add their choice of milk to make it a little more creamier. So he ate it in the bare bones kind of way, but he tried it in that way when testing it,
Yeah.
and he liked it. So, eat it the way you'd like, and we're happy to support.
Yeah.
I read that it's going to be also part of if our next Canadian astronaut in line is selected it as well when he goes to the International Space Station for 6 months. But they get their water from recycled urine and breath and other things, which made me kind of
It just
ill
adds to the
thinking about it.
flavor.
All right, back to the Jewish angle. Did you? I noticed that you thanked Arlene Dickinson, who everyone knows as an entrepreneur from Dragon's Den, and I'm wondering what part of her support did you get, and are there also Jewish people who have supported you financially, Jewish community?
So Arlene Dickinson owns Venture. Venture Park is the facility, the shared kitchen, food safe manufacturing facility where we first were manufacturing our product when we launched prior to a co-packer. The person that validated us and supported us from day one is Jewish, and his validation and support, me and Carson spoke about more than once, allowed us to have the confidence and the determination to keep on going and moving forward. This Jewish individual went to work for Olivia Chow's office.
Coming up, how the co-founders dug deep into their Jewish pride while receiving an award from Toronto's Mayor Olivia Chow. It was on your social media and hers the other day that you got a certificate. Our community has a sort of, how can we say it kindly, controversial relationship with Mayor Chow for what's happened after October 7th. There was no question you weren't going to go, right? You were going to go.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
How did you navigate that?
You want to go, Schreiber?
I mean, business is business.
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously we have our personal thoughts, feelings, political, agendas, and what we follow. But we were there representing something bigger than us, and the city hall represents something bigger than Mayor Olivia Chow. We've been Toronto residents our whole lives, and it was the city that was giving us this amazing honor.
But also, it wasn't our
Yeah, I know
place
for
to
sure.
fight
But
it.
like much like business in general, you're gonna work with people you love, people you don't like, people you don't agree with. But we looked at the bigger picture, and the
Yeah.
bigger picture was a great honor from the city. My mom used to work in City Hall all the time when I was a child, so being there and some of the places that she used to walk, just felt really great. And so that was kind of how we rectified that thought process, and we really kind of separated quote unquote church and state with that, because it was an honor for all the great things that we've been working hard on, and that was just a good,
Absolutely.
final close to this amazing mission that we've been on ourselves.
But also, like, as Jews, I truly don't believe that, tikkun olam, right? Like it's like I'm not going to not take an opportunity for tikkun olam, right? This is an opportunity for that. For me personally, anyways, the way that I live my life, all we know of the way the Jewish community feels is what's out there in the news and in the press, and in fact, for me, what I hear third hand. I wanted to go and meet her in person. I wanted to go and give peace a chance. I think it was an excellent opportunity for Tikkun Olam, if not in the grand scheme of things, at least in the micro, in what is in my heart, and what I have to deal
So
with on a
did
daily
you wear
basis.
anything or not wear anything?
So me personally, I'm always wearing something. I have Schreiber here, the Israeli. You can read it for everybody who's watching out there.
There's
Okay, our listeners
Israel
on
Chai.
video won't see it, but we'll put it on video. You have a tattoo, Am Yisrael Chai. When did that happen?
It happened after October 7th. I mean, I have a few Jewish tattoos. I have a Jewish star on my arm with a little sword and a crown, but I'm always wearing something. Funny enough, I don't have a Jewish star necklace or anything, so I didn't remove anything or add anything for this. And again, I really wanted the story, from a third party perspective, to be really focused on Goldies, from everybody in Canada and beyond.
What about you, Daniel S? You told me you were going to wear gigantic Magen David, but I don't know if you did.
Every time I had an idea of what I'm gonna do, my wife reminded me that that the business is still indebted to me, and that I'd be better off creating an opportunity to earn that money back than to fight the world. So she's just go be
Smile.
nice, accept it, smile, do it for the gram.
And you said the business is indebted to you. I want to ask you financially. Does NASA or the CSA pay you to get your products up there, or do you have to pay them? How does that financially?
No, so it
They
yeah,
bought it
so
like a
the
regular
orders
customer.
came directly through our website, one package at a time. We offered early on, as soon as we got the first order, we're like, what are you ordering for? Like, we will send you cases. Like, we want this. And they're like, no, no, no. We are, we're a government agency. We can't just take free product. We have the right channels. We're going to continue ordering online. And so every month we get, $30 here, $60 here, $20 here. So no, they didn't pay us to go up there except for what they purchased, and we didn't have to pay them anything, except we had to pay for our own accommodations to get down to Cape Canaveral. But it was worth its weight in gold, because that was such an unbelievable experience.
How much product was up there? Quantity.
Yeah, we know.
I know what they purchased, which was 110 units, but that was split between the ISS and Orion.
Nutella happened.
Yes.
Would you kill for that publicity?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been cool. We made jokes about it on different shows, but it could never have happened for us, because our packaging was transferred, so there was no way. But yes, in the perfect world or outer world, that would have been the next level amazing, and my mind would have blown.
Okay, question now. We want to know what's next from your product and bigger things.
From a space exploration perspective, or just in general?
Well, that's one angle, because I've read that you have a contest coming.
From the space angle, we do want to continue the relationship with Canadian Space Agency. So we do want to be aboard their next and foreseeable manned missions. So that's on the space side. We'd love for ultimately our seeds to go to Mars, but that's a long time from now. The competition is something very unique and very special to Goldies. What it is, it's a creative illustration competition where the theme is Goldy and Bear travel to space. The idea is grades 1 through 8 would make the illustration to their best of their little abilities and submit it online. And the way that it would work is the 8 winners, grades 1 through 8, each will have one winner, will then have their illustrations printed in a limited edition booklet. That limited edition booklet would be inserted into a limited edition flavor of oatmeal. The entirety of this campaign touches on a lot of things, from inclusivity to literacy and creativity to school children and space and reaching for the stars and healthy eating and eating like an astronaut. All of it, it's very well rounded, and it should be a lot of fun. So we are hoping that if everything goes according to plan, that we would launch this competition for September 1st, back to school, and have a winner announced for the end of the year, ideally with the first run of boxes with booklets on the shelf for January 1st, to then promote kind of like New Year, New You. If you haven't yet, then start eating healthy in
Okay,
2027.
so you'll let us know when kids can start
Yeah.
entering. I think
And
that's
we'll let
great.
you draw something as well. We'll put that in there if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I had chia on my yogurt this morning, as a matter of fact, as I do every
Okay.
day. So there you go.
Nice.
But I'm thinking I'm old, so I think of the chia, the chia pets. That's what we grew up with.
I think of that too. Trust me. We say that every day when we're like packing bags and stuff. We're just singing that song. Yep,
Right.
there
So
it
our
is.
listeners who are of a
Chia.
certain age, they will know. Or the painter Bob, what's his name, that had the hair.
You had a Bob
Recently,
Ross
I found
Chia Pet?
That's
it was
amazing.
That's legendary.
Lastly, I'm not sure if my producer sent this to me. There's like a Chabad teaching about Goldilocks and the Three Bears story, which is so beautiful.
Didn't know that.
That it's more about finding your place. For example, he said when God gave the Torah to Moses on Mount Sinai wasn't the highest mountain and it wasn't a valley. It was just right. It was sort of
Oh.
tall enough,
Love
but
that.
not like too imposing, but also not too humble.
Well, he needed to be above the people to speak to them, but not so high
So
that they couldn't
confidence,
hear him.
pride, but humility. So Mount Sinai was the perfect spot, and
I
it
love
was
that.
just right. And I just thought that was so beautiful because, people are thinking about these people that have gone to space, these heroes. Oh my God, the farthest that anybody's ever gone. And
Mhm.
you have a part of this. And so you've come from the Jewish community, Daniel C., with Megan Boys and with Camp Robin Hood, and then Daniel S., of course, in your way too. Did you get a little kind of religious feeling watching this, or kind of a spiritual feeling with the Jewishy feeling with the liftoff?
It absolutely felt spiritual. It was nothing like we ever felt before. I'm personally not a big crier, so to speak, but there's been a few times post liftoff where I'm sitting by myself, just like thinking about this impact, thinking about what we're a part of, where I'm getting, emotionally connected. And is that a Jewish thing? I mean, it comes from that. That's where my roots are staked, and that's kind of where I live and breathe and eat on a daily basis. So, yeah, it felt very, very spiritual. And my uncle, who's passed away recently, he lives in he lived in California. He's spoken at NASA a few different times, connected to the Jewish world and conversation. And
Your loss, yeah.
being there, it was pretty. You felt that connection, you felt that energy, you felt that light. So absolutely, there was moments that you can feel it kind of coming through and radiating through.
Daniel Schreiber, anything for you?
I would say something different. I would say that for myself, and it's just the way that I was raised in my family, is that I am hyper aware, and I try to be hyper aware of Jewish and Israeli accomplishments. And so for me, this is another one, another proof of concept of the value that Jewish people bring to the world, the accomplishments that Jewish people can achieve, the underdog story. Again, with Tikkun Olam, it's us doing something because it's the right thing to do, not thinking about the politics of it or the social impact of it. So for me, it's an extreme point of pride to know that the iPhone that shot the photograph on the spaceship had Israeli components, and so did his breakfast.
It's a good
love it.
connection.
No one's had that comment before. I'm very honored that you gave it to me. And where did you guys meet? Because you said you were best friends. Did you guys go to like?
Yeah, we
church
met.
or-
No, we never went to Jewish school. We always were public school kids. We grew up in Thornhill. We went to York Hill Elementary School together, and then we went to Thornhill High School together. There, and we went to, obviously Robin Hood and Schreiber went to Wahanawan for a little bit as well as a staff. Yeah,
I did a
we did
tour.
summer tours, of course, in the Mandel days. So yeah, we grew up in Thornhill and we were there most of our lives. And now I'm just north of Thornhill and Schreiber's just slightly southwest of Thornhill.
It's been an honor to meet you guys. I'm so thankful that we got to talk about this sort of niche Jewish topic because
sure.
we got to represent, right?
Totally.
Next time for Artemis, I totally have to represent next for Artemis 3. We're going to ask the next astronaut if he's willing to not just eat our cereal, but wrap to fill in outer space. So we're going to see if that happens.
Boy, the Chabad would go berserk on that one. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And that's what Jewish Canada sounded like for this episode of North Star. Made possible thanks to the Ira Gluskin and Maxine Granovsky Gluskin Charitable Foundation. You can learn more about Goldies and about other Jews in space, including one from Shawmedy. Visit the links in our show notes. This episode was produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman. Michael Freeman is the executive producer, and Alicia Richler is the CJN's editorial director. And thanks for listening.